Hey, everybody. I moved off the standard talk about sports business and the NFL, Las Vegas Stadium, and the Raiders, or politics or anything to focus on a question that is on my mind and I'm certain is on your mind and deserves an answer. But, it's not an answer I'm going to come up with tonight, I don't think. But look, Tom Hanks, who, when I think of Tom Hanks, I think of Skyline High School, Oakland, California, my high school. And the fact that we're having our 40th reunion is this year. Hey, welcome to Zenny 62. I didn't think anybody would come in today. But I wanted to talk about this even if I was talking to myself. I didn't care. I wanted to talk about this stuff. So, but for somebody like Tom Hanks and his wife Rita to be diagnosed with the coronavirus and the COVID-19 just took me back, because here's what I'm struggling with is, all right, if this, first of all, there are an estimated, I think it was 1,238 cases. Let me type coronavirus update. Tom Hanks, he says he has it, right? So coronavirus update. How about coronavirus cases? All right. Coronavirus cases. There are an estimated 126,369 cases and 4,634 deaths in the entire world right now. That's according to worldometers.info. Now, I'm not in any way saying, or don't expect me to explain this away or say it's anything other than it's very important and this is a pandemic, all right? I'm trying to put a mental handle on all this because I really haven't done it for myself or for my audience. Coronavirus cases, 1,236, 126,380 worldwide, 4,634 deaths. Now, look, one death is one death too many, right? But here's the good news. Of the 126,000 cases, 68% have recovered. 68%. So I didn't say, I mean 68,000. What's wrong with my head? I know what it's wrong. I'm just probably exhausted, but I should not have a problem reading with this before me, right? There are 126,380 coronavirus cases. Of those, there are or have been 4,634 deaths. However, 68,307 have said to recover, which means they did something to overcome it. And that's good news. There are closed cases and active cases. I know, but what gets me is we don't have enough test kits in the United States. And so today we find out that Rudy Gobert, Utah Jazz forward, has coronavirus. And so NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says, hey, you know what? Stop the season. Full stop. Suspended. Wow. And that today was part of a whole flood tide of actions. The city of Oakland put out a notice. It says this is an emergency. Sound the alarm. Hey, we're in trouble. Here's what we're going to do. Notice that I'll read in part to you. Goes like this. Reads, let's see here. Here it opens. Cool. All right. It reads, City of Oakland declares local emergency COVID-19 cancels all large public events. City declares local emergency, issues order to cancel all large public events and expands sanitation services for unsheltered residents. Oakland, California. The World Health Organization announced today that it has characterized COVID-19 as a pandemic. Yesterday, now this doesn't define what a pandemic is, so let me do that for you real quick. In fact, I should do that in a little rewrite of this post that I assembled earlier today, but I don't have the time to do that right now. Okay, we've got, here we go. Pandemic is defined as a pandemic is a disease epidemic that is spread across a large region, for instance, multiple continents or worldwide. A widespread endemic disease that is stable in terms of how many people are getting sick from it is not a pandemic, such as smallpox or tuberculosis. I'm reading the definition here on Wikipedia. One of the most devastating pandemics was the Black Death, which killed an estimated 75 million to 200 million people in the 14th century. So you have to go back that far. You have to go back that far to identify a pandemic. Wow. The current pandemics are HIV/AIDS and the coronavirus disease. Okay, so HIV we've had for a while, but I think we're used to it because we know it's confined to the behavior of people who choose to behave that way that causes it. Okay. But at any rate, the current pandemics are HIV/AIDS and coronavirus disease. Other recent pandemics include the 1918 influenza pandemic, which is called the Spanish flu, and the 2009 flu pandemic that was H1N1. Okay. Then it has definitions and stages. A pandemic is an epidemic occurring on a scale which crosses international boundaries, usually affecting a large number of people. Pandemics can also occur in important agricultural organisms like livestock, crop plants, fish, tree species, and other organisms. A disease or condition is not a pandemic merely because it's widespread or kills many people. It must also be infectious. For instance, cancer is responsible for many deaths, but it is not considered a pandemic because the disease, or it doesn't come with a disease that is not infectious or contagious. And so that wasn't worded right. Basically, what they're saying is that you cannot catch cancer. That's what they're saying. Okay. The World Health Organization, WHO, previously applied a 6-stage classification that describes the process. And a process by which a novel influenza virus moves from the first few infections in humans through to a pandemic. This starts with a virus mostly infecting animals. The few cases where animals infect people, then moves through the stage where the virus begins to spread directly between person to person and ends with a pandemic when infections from the new virus have spread worldwide. In February 2020, WHO clarified that there is no official category for a pandemic. For the sake of clarification, WHO does not use the old system of 6 phases that range from phase 1, which is no reports of animal influenza causing human infections, to phase 6, a pandemic that some people may be familiar with from the H1N1 issue. Okay. So, In a virtual press conference in May 2009 on the influenza panic, Dr. Kelly Paducah, Assistant Director General and Interim for Health and Security Environment at the World Health Organization, said, an easy way to think about pandemic is to say a pandemic is a global outbreak. Then you might ask yourself, what is a global outbreak? Global outbreak means that we see both spread of the agent and then we see disease activities in addition to the spread of the virus. In planning for a possible influenza pandemic, the WHO published a document on pandemic preparedness guidance, revised in 2005 and so on. Okay. Anyway, so that we know about the current pandemics, HIV/AIDS, and the coronavirus, and that each one have there's notable outbreaks back in time. So we've got we've got a situation here where we now know and understand this is a full-on pandemic. And I'm going to read your comments. Laundry Day, how you doing? Rob Iman is here. How you doing, Rob? Lou Primo says Jazz player Emmanuel Monde has tested positive as well. So that's 2 NBA players. Laundry Day says it seems like it didn't matter until CPAC and rich people were affected by this. I disagree with that. I don't understand this desire or need to place everything in a left-to-right American context. For one thing, Rob Iman says he's doing his part to flatten the curve. There you go. Well, I went to the gym, so that wasn't, I guess that wasn't, I had to work out. But, I scrubbed down things and everything. I went to the gym. So I guess I'm not doing my part to flatten the curve. I go to the gym. It wasn't crowded. And the gym that I go to has maybe 40 active members, maybe 50 tops. And so because of the nature of the gym, there aren't a lot of people. It's not like a gym you might go to in a bigger city where there's 2,000 people. This is not that place. This is a small. Rob Iman says the gym is okay. It's okay? Okay, great. I don't know, because you say the gym is okay. Then Jessica Yellen on Instagram said that her viewers are getting after her about this is Jessica Yellen. She's got a great podcast, I think.
Into seriousness. I want to give you a roundup of coronavirus news and also some big picture perspective. First, let me say this. I want you to know that I'm trying to strike a balance between activating those of you who keep messaging me to say that this coronavirus thing is all hype.
Not me.
While trying not to panic those of you who are being super conscientious and are feeling a little bit freaked out.
See, that's me, all right? That's me, okay? The latter one is I'm super conscientious. I'm feeling a little freaked out. Maybe you're the same way. Fellow at the gym said, hey, I believe in God. I ain't scared of nothing. I said, look, I believe in God too, and I'm scared, all right? Because here's why I'm scared. First of all, we don't know where this thing came from, okay? We don't know, all right? We don't know. The city of Oakland says yesterday the Alameda County Public Health Department announced new recommendations and guidance to protect Alameda County residents from COVID-19, reduce community transmission of the virus, and decrease its spread. This guidance recommended that non-essential mass gatherings and large community events will be postponed or canceled. That means you don't meet in large places. So, hey, concert in the park draws about 300? No. In response to this rapidly evolving public health crisis, the city of Oakland has declared a local emergency. It issued an order to cancel all large public events at city-owned facilities. Ooh. So, actually, that's a lot of places. And expanded sanitation services for all unsheltered residents as detailed below. And so, basically, on Monday, March 9th, Oakland City Administrator Sabrina Landry issued a proclamation of a local emergency related to the growing public health threat related to the COVID ID. Excuse me, I keep saying COVID ID. COVID-19 virus consistent with the public health emergency declared by Alameda County on March 1st, 2020, and the state of emergency declared by the state of California on March 4th, 2020. And they attached the proclamation to that. So basically, the powers provided in local emergency declaration will enable the administration, the Oakland City administration, to provide necessary goods and services, establish necessary rules and regulations, expand the capacity to communicate updates and recommendations to city employees and the community, and redeploy existing resources to best protect the health and safety of our employees, the well-being of our residents, especially those experiencing homelessness, the health of our local economy, and the continued provision of city services. You can read the rest there, okay? And so this is the city administrator is basically laying it out, saying, hey, look, you can't meet. We're going to help everybody. City's going to clean up as many parks. We're going to make life as comfortable for the homeless as we can under the circumstances. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But my point is that we're doing all this, but how did we get here? And when I say how did we get here, we have the coronavirus cases. We have cases, deaths, countries, all right? China has 80,796 cases. They just added 18 new cases, 3,169 deaths, 11 new deaths, sadly. But total recovered, 62,802. There are 14,825 active cases and 4,257 that are seriously critical. There are 56 cases for every million in the Chinese population. So there's, to me, a silver lining. The silver lining says, hey, there are people surviving this. Maybe that could be you and me. So if we hear this, 70 million, because look at this. This is what I bought the National Enquirer. Yes, I bought the National Enquirer. Let the jokes fly. I bought the National Enquirer because look at this, all right? Read this. Okay. See what it says? It says, Corona virus will infect 100 million Americans with 7 million deaths. Where are they getting that from? That's an outsized number. We have 300 million people on this great country of ours, 360, right? So you mean to tell me almost 1/3 will get the coronavirus? You mean to tell me that 7 million will die? Experts plague warning. Is this why they call it the National Enquirer? I mean, and it says, look, listen to this, though. Riots, famine, economic collapse, but we found a cure. That is a note of optimism because right now we haven't found a cure. Don't know. Meanwhile, Johnny versus Amber, okay? But I'm trying to figure out what is going on and how is this spreading. I just want to know how this is spreading. Is it really through the air? But here's the thing. If there are only that few cases, then the good news is that it's not this monster that's like Godzilla or trying to go fight King Kong and everybody's being impacted by its air movements and all this stuff, right? No, this thing is spreading in a way that's very pointless because do you know what our world population is? Our world population is 7 billion. So out of 7 billion people, 7 freaking billion people, I'm just saying, 7 freaking billion people, okay? Out of 7 freaking billion people, we have a grand total of 126,000 cases out of 7 billion people. You can't even pick that little nub in a model. So the communication that this is a problem, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing. This is a good thing. The communication, this is a problem, far outstretches the problem right now. But there's a catch, because some of you might be, or you should be saying, Zinni, we don't know about the testing. We don't know about the testing. To which I would say, you're right. Okay. Jason D says, have you stocked up on food at all? Yes. Jason D says it's spreading through air droplets. Interesting. So basically, you mean I should have a mask on? Or should I clean the air in its entirety? Is that what I should do? Should I go out and buy a home air? It can be gotten from surfaces, says Ryan Abbott. So I should wipe down, like I did at the gym. I wiped down my surface. But I got to wipe down this surface too. Well, I got this. This is what I got, folks. Okay, as far as wiping down surfaces. Among other things. I got a lot of stuff here. But I think I've presented this before. Lysol! So I just take the Lysol, right? And this is actually surface wipes. So I wipe down the table here. Yeah. And yeah, Lysol! So, and Alan Barson says 7 freaking billion. Yeah. Hey, Jake Chat, YouTube. How you doing, buddy? Yeah. 7 freaking billion people on the planet. So, it's good to overreact because you don't want to see that number go from 126,000 to 1 million. Although I think it will. But that's what gets me to this. Look. Experts warn coronavirus will kill 7 million people. Experts warn coronavirus will kill 7 million people. How? The deadly coronavirus, it says unstoppable plague, bringing chaos and economic disaster. You got a small business, you get one of those loans that Trump is putting out through the SBA. I'm going to. The deadly coronavirus continues its rampage, having sickened more than 80,000 people in at least 40,000 countries and territories, killing nearly 300. That was then. Now, here's what they're saying about Tom Hanks. Listen to this.
Public health and safety requires not much more to it than a one day at a time approach. No, we'll keep the world posted and updated. Take care of yourselves. Hanks. David, no, look, obviously, we're not just worried about celebrities getting sick, but the idea that you got Tom Hanks, who's one of America's beloved celebrities, obviously, and his wife in Australia with coronavirus, already tested, and figuring it out, and they're having rules in place of what they're going to do, tells you two things. One, wow, this could hit anybody. And two, why does he seem so calm about how they're handling it in Australia, and why isn't that echoed back here at home?
Right, and that's the challenge. And that's the challenge for the administration. The president didn't address testing. And the fact that, at my doctor's office, which, has lots of great services, they can't do tests yet. So there is a backlog. And people are going to be watching this, and they're taking all this in, and they're anxious. And I would say as well, when you see celebrities have it, a lot of people are paying attention to that. But I will say, one of the byproducts of our political age is that we don't have a lot of trust in institutions. People look at leadership through a political lens. We are all in this together, and it's crucially important to recognize that. And what people want to know tonight are cold, hard facts. They're going to pay less attention to the analysis of whether Trump did a good job tonight, a bad job tonight. They want to know, where do we go from here? What do we do from here? What are the facts? And that's what he as president has to remember, which is this is not about his impulse. It's not about his ego. It's really not about the immediate impacts on the economy. It's what is he doing that no one else can do in the world as president of the United States, which is to lead the federal government to respond, to contain, and to minimize the impact of it. That's what people want to know.
Yeah, and you know what? Hey, David Gregory used to be on NBC. Legend said it best,
We're going to have more reaction.
But my point is that, and they made it. It's like talking about Tom Hanks and Rita Hanks and how you get this thing. and how you avoid it. But also the good news that there are people who are surviving it. But what bothers me and is we don't have enough tests, and we have people not telling the truth. For example, on my blog, I'm going to read something to you. This is I'm here in Fayette County, Georgia. Okay, so I have a number of and rising, because I have one more coming after I do this, COVID-19 related stories. Right here is this latest one. Well, it's not the latest one, but where is this? This was, let me see here. There it is. Right here. Report of Fayette County COVID-19 case from Georgia Department of Public Health. Okay. Now I wrote this March 11th, right? Made a video of it too, okay? Fayette County, Georgia, in this time of the pandemic caused by the spread of novel coronavirus causing life-threatening COVID-19 cases, it is vitally important to make sure that information disseminated by the media is correct and adjusted when inaccuracies are found. So what happened was I found a story on the Citizen that said that the report that Fayette County has its first presumed positive case, according to news release sent Monday, and the unidentified Fayette person was hospitalized, all right? And they didn't disclose the location, okay? And it says, in addition to the Fayette case, there are 4 other presumed cases of COVID-ID, the disease caused by the coronavirus. The additional cases are in Cobb, Fayette, Gwinnett, and 2 in DeKalb. The individuals are hospitalized and the source of their infections are unknown. All right. So when I went to the governor's office website, the press release that the Citizen said existed, I didn't see. I finally found another version of the press release at the Georgia Department of Public Health. But you know how I found it? I had to actually take the text that was written on the Citizen, put it into Google search, and then see what the results were. And that's how I found that the text could be traced back to the Georgia Department of Public Health. The governor's office was nowhere to be seen. But if you didn't, if you weren't in my line of business, okay, and you didn't think to check that, you would have said, hey, you know what? This is not happening because it's not on the governor's website, right? But not only did it happen, here's the story that I'm posting after I'm done with this. I ran into someone that I know who works at the local hospital here, Fayette Piedmont Hospital. This person told me that there were 5 COVID-19 cases at the hospital. They had a special floor for them, a special area of the hospital, and that they had to send 10 staff members home for kind of a quarantine or self-testing. That's what I was told. I was told that tonight. So you heard me say that there was one test in Fayette, one case of someone who had it, presumably, right? In Fayette County, there's actually 5. But they didn't want the information to get out. So how are we supposed to really know what the frick is going on with episodes like this, which I'm sure are being played out many places around the country, heck, around the world? Think about Las Vegas. You know what the mayor of Las Vegas, the mayor of Las Vegas, this is what the mayor of Las Vegas did. This is a doozy, okay? This is a complete doozy. You got to see what the mayor of Las Vegas put out earlier today. Mayor, Mayor, mayor of Las Vegas. And let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, here it is. This is it. This is from the shoot. This is from the where is this? Where is it? Ah, here. Okay. Here. All right. Mayor of Las Vegas, Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman. See if I've got that lined up correctly. Okay. Pull that. All right. It's not it. Yeah. Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman says media hyping coronavirus. That's Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman says media hyping coronavirus. Yeah. Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman says the media is hyping coronavirus. If anybody wanted to take a vacation now because there's no place to go, it should be here. All right. So that's what she's saying. That's on the Las Vegas Sun. And since the Las Vegas Sun is cash strapped, guess what? They've got a paywall where they want you to pay to basically read that gobbledygook. I'm not going to pay to read that gobbledygook. I saw the headline. I got everything I need to know. You know? All right. The Vegas mayor says, I'm excited. Our president is traveling around and living his best presidential life. He's meeting folks, not letting fear take over. We really believe it's safe enough and are encouraging all our convention and meetings to go on, no matter how many thousands of people. Las Vegas mayor told tourism officials the media's coverage of the coronavirus is absolutely destroying us. What she doesn't get, see, this is what she doesn't get, okay? This is what she doesn't get, all right? She doesn't get that, she doesn't get at all that the World Health Organization is not the media. Yet the World Health Organization is the organization that officially called this a pandemic, okay? Okay? Officially called this a pandemic. She doesn't get that people are contracted with this. She doesn't get that people are not being tested. So a number of people could have this, and maybe this Inquirer article, you know, I hope this is wrong, is right. Okay? The current plague, all right, look. This is how they came up with this number. Let me read you this. The deadly coronavirus continues its rampage, having sickened more than 80,000 people in 40 countries. You heard that already. And in at least 40 countries and territories, killing nearly 3,000. But this may be just the tip of the iceberg, okay? Using the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic as a model, medical experts claimed at least 100 million Americans will be infected and 7 million will die in the United States alone. The current plague, which surfaced in Wuhan, China, after escaping from a military research lab? That's what it says here. This is it. This is true? How the blankety blank did it escape from a military research lab? I mean, here's the thing. There's nothing to refute this. Okay? There's nothing to refute this. Let me read this, what I just read to you. I just lost one person. I probably say, whatever. But that's what this is in the Inquirer. I was like, what's the Inquirer? But here's my question to you. Yes, this is the Inquirer. But I'm putting my hand on my head. But here's my issue. If it didn't come from a military lab, where the heck did it come from? Okay. Where did it come from? And I'm not, okay, here, so let me type this. Let me type coronavirus origin. That's what I've typed in Google right now. And CDC.gov has frequently asked questions. What is a novel? Yeah, frequently asked questions. What is novel coronavirus? Why is the disease being called that? Why might someone blame or avoid individuals and groups because of it? And how can people help stop the stigma related to it? What is the source of the virus? How does the virus spread? So anyway, it doesn't say, all right, it talks about it being a new kind of coronavirus that has not been previously identified. It talked about why it's being called that. It says that people in the United States may be worried or anxious about friends and relatives who are living and visiting areas. Some people are worried about the disease. Fear and anxiety can lead to social stigma, for example, toward Chinese or Asians. This skips over the whole question of how this started. Okay? It skips over it. What's the source of the virus? Talks about how there are a family of viruses. How is it spread? It says it was first detected in Wuhan City, Hubei Province, China. The first infections were linked to a live animal market, but the virus is now spreading from person to person. Here's my question, okay? All right, the first infections were linked to a live animal market, right? How? Look, there have been live animal markets in China since before me and you were born. Why is it that all of a sudden, after thousands of years of live animal markets, boom, this thing had to happen right now? And I go back to this, and it reads, okay, the current plague surfaced in Wuhan, China after escaping from a military research lab. Okay. So look at the choices I have. I have either a live market in Wuhan or a military research lab in Wuhan. Those aren't good choices, right? One good reason research lab in Wuhan. Those aren't good choices, right? One good reason that the coronavirus was created, novel coronavirus was created to wipe us out. Tell me if I'm wrong. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to type in Google right now. I'm going to type coronavirus because I want to get to the bottom of this, or try to. Coronavirus military lab. Yeah, coronavirus military lab. It says theory that the first one, theory that, this is the scientist.com, theory that coronavirus escaped from a lab lacks evidence. No shit. I mean, okay. The pathogen, this is March 5th, appears to have come from wild animals, I'll just say, but there's no signs of genetic manipulation. How did it come from a live animal? All right. It says the theories evolved into claims that the virus was genetically engineered to be a bioweapon. But scientists say that while there's not enough information to pinpoint where the virus came from, there is no evidence that it was created in a lab. The lab escape theory has been circulating on social media, newspapers too, and various blogs for weeks, but gained considerable visibility in a New York Post article in late February. In it, Steve Mosher, a social scientist and the president of the Population Research Institute in Front Royal, Virginia, summarizes how he believes SARS-CoV-2 may have been accidentally spread by China's National Biosafety Laboratory at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, where researchers have studied bat coronaviruses. In the article, Mosher describes several lines of reasoning, namely that the lab is less than 10 miles away from the seafood market where a cluster of COVID-19 cases was first discovered, and that after the 2003 SARS outbreak, the SARS-CoV virus escaped from virology labs multiple times in China. So in other words, there's a prior here. Oh, you did it already. Therefore, guilty, right? He also describes how Chinese virologists and bioweapons expert Major General Chen Wei went to the Wuhan Institute of Virology with military scientists in January to study the new virus, which Mosher sees as a form of damage control. The circumstantial evidence surrounding it is pretty compelling. This is what they're writing. The idea that the epicenter of this epidemic would just be a few miles from the Institute of Virology in Wuhan, which is where we know that dangerous pathogens are being kept and looked at as potential bioweapons. I think the odds against that are just astronomical, Mosher tells the scientists. And this person says that this Dimitris Patrikov says this is unlikely. He says any person who works in a lab must follow very strict safety regulations. It sounds to me very extraordinary that something happened and nobody took care about such an incident. And so it goes on. One problem leading to a lot of apprehension and speculation about the new coronavirus is that scientists don't know what the actual source of the virus was. Anthony Furr, a coronavirus researcher at the University of Kansas, tells the scientist. Additionally, researchers don't know if SARS-CoV-2 immediately started to spread in humans after a single transmission from an animal, or if it took multiple zoonotic events before an infected animal population in humans. Despite the question mark around the exact source of the disease, it does appear to have originally come from wildlife, according to a team of international public health scientists who wrote a statement published in The Lancet. An analysis of SARS-CoV-2 by scientists at the Wuhan Institute of Virology suggests that the virus genome is 96% similar to a coronavirus found in bats. Mosher agrees the animals were the likely origin. That doesn't mean the virus wasn't collected, brought to the lab, and was being tested in various ways and escaped from the lab, he says. Mosher also does not claim that China genetically engineered the virus. I'm not saying this has been genetically engineered to be a bioweapon that escaped from the lab. I'm just saying that China is collecting dangerous pathogens and they have a history of letting them escape from the lab. Let's turn this around another way. Okay, hold on a second. Turn off the heat here. Let's turn this around another way. If you're China and you know that you've got your superpower associating with other superpowers, and you're in a position where if you admitted that you were the cause of such a pandemic, there would be all kinds of international fervor falling down on you. Okay? So where is the incentive for China to say, you know what? We've got this lab a few miles away from that, live animal market, and one of our pathogens that we were experimenting with escaped. It got out. How? And then who's to say that it wasn't deliberately let out? Let's see what will happen to the population if we let this out. The problem is that because nobody can explain it, all of these alternative reasons are fair game. No one can say, oh, that's fake news. Well, okay, fine. Give me the real news. Given the fact that this is spread, given the fact that it's lethal, why is it that we seem to be saying, oh, don't say that. Oh, don't say that. Ricky says the Bible explains it. In fact, let me get to your comments now because I'm got my great folks here and I'm missing their comments. So hold on a second. Let me get to your comments here, folks. I'll get to the ones that I let's see. The last one, oh. Muhammad is here. Okay. Wright Abbott says, I'm worried about people hoarding toilet paper. Stores are empty, and I'm down with 2 toilet rolls. There was a rice shortage yesterday from hoarding. Jason D says, Ryan Abbott, you should be able to order toilet paper online. J Chat, how you doing? Oh man. J Chat says, man, oh man. Rob Ivan says, go to the store early, Ryan. Go to the store early, I think you mean. Yeah, go to the store early. Manda A, hey, Manda says, change. Chicago's pretty good, though, so far. Yay. Hey, sis. My half-sister there. Ahmed says, one thing I learned in life, sometimes the truth has to be written because the people will rebel. I don't agree with it, but it's reality. Let me read that again. That's interesting. One thing, this is Muhammad Ahmad says, writing this. One thing I learned in life, sometimes the truth has to be written because the people will rebel. I don't agree with it, but it's a reality. Muhammad then follows up with, look at the shortages. People are freaking out. J Chat says, it's going to be a ghost town in Vegas. Muhammad Ahmad says, truth has to be hidden. J Chat says, very carefully. Jason D says, there's a virus lab in Wuhan, China. Look it up. Okay, I'll do that in a second. Recad, how you doing? Recad says, I read it came from someone in China ate a bat at the wet market. But my point is, how many thousands of years have these markets been around, right? You're going to tell me that's the first time somebody ate a bat? I'm not buying that. You don't just eat a bat and that happens. I mean, if that's the case, we would have had another lore other than Dracula, right? Dracula would have taken on probably a different story. Instead of calling it Dracula, we might have called it Dracu coronavirus. Okay. So I'm not buying that one. Golden Arm 17 says, I think it may have originated in bats. Alex Borsky says, what do you think the repercussions should be for China if it's proven after the dust settles? That they deliberately released the virus, or if the virus was released as a result of negligence? The repercussions should be that they pay about $500 billion in damages to the rest of the world. Yeah, I would say 500 billion, a $500 billion. That's fair. Yeah, when the dust settles, I think $500 billion price tag. A $500 billion, right there. Alex Borsey says, what do you think the repercussions should be for China if it's proven after? I answered that, sorry. Muhammad says, remember the movie Outbreak? Yeah. You remember the Andromeda strain? Muhammad says, someone messed up and started from a market. The Andromeda strain was an alien virus. Remember that was alien microbe that wiped out this town near Phoenix. Jason remembers it. Jay Chat remembers it. Jason D. Muhammad adds, do you think the coronavirus outbreak had to do with the Hong Kong protest? Connect that one for me. Because I don't want to just say, I'm just asking, connect that one for me. Golden Arm says, bat bites animal then transfers it to humans. My point is that dynamic is not new. Look, bats bite animals and humans. Okay, so a bat bites a German Shepherd who bites a person. You're going to tell me that never happened before? Okay, so a bat bites a cat bites somebody else. You gonna tell me that's never happened before? Bat bites a tiger bites somebody else, right? I mean, that doesn't add up. Why out of all these bat bite examples do we suddenly get coronavirus after thousands of years of bat biting other things? That doesn't make sense. Okay. Mohammed says this will be the downfall of the Chinese economy, and global economy will probably shift back to focus. Will probably shift back to United States. Companies should start to shift back to the U.S. Oh, so are you telling me that this then was actually a man-made way of wresting economic control from China? Is that why Trump is not so upset about it? There's something going on. Even if it was accidental, I don't think it was accidental like that. Okay. Like, a bat bit this dog that was in the market. Nah. Reed Cat says the next virus will come from the United States and will come from people eating CWD deer meat. Huh. Raider Gans, how you doing? Raider Gans says China has been silently attacking us and it hasn't been made public. But we've been publicly attacking ourselves at the same time. Interesting point. Very interesting point. Something I want to read about. Ricky Bible says Bible explains it. Patrick M. Blackman, how you doing? Jason says good point. Rear TM says Resident Evil like. Red again says, for example, the snakehead fish is a freshwater fish that feeds on other fish, breeds rapidly, and survives almost all climates. The fish somehow made it from lakes in China to U.S. lakes. Ricky says 10 plagues. Exodus 6:6-8. Weird TM says, or any outbreak movie. Rick Cat says Ebola went from animals to humans, and it also started with bats. Yeah, we found the cure for that one pretty quickly, didn't we? Rita Gann says, Ricky, all due respect, the Bible most have today are the King James Version, which we now know was a pedophile. What is that? Pedophile? Golden Arms says, viruses are like us. They mutate and change over time. So how's this one changing? Jeffrey Leaks says, my grandma made a diss song to coronavirus. Ricky C's writes, next couple of days, y'all going to see Buffalo go up out of nowhere. Raider Can says, Ricky, the King James Version is a written plan, not a prophecy. And then he adds, that's why secret societies say you have to swear on the version of the Bible. Ricky says, how you know? You lived through it and your ancestors? Laugh out loud. Patrick and Blackman says, I'm concerned, but I'm not freaking out over the virus. And Bob Money says, hello. To which I say, hey, Bob. Let me finish reading this since this is interesting. Oh, you told me to look up Wuhan Lab. Was that it? Wuhan, hold on a second. Wuhan Lab. Wuhan Lab. Wuhan Lab, yes. Coronavirus epidemic draws scrutiny to labs handling. That's Wall Street Journal. Wuhan Virology Lab unable to quell China coronavirus. That's QZ. That's Quartz. Besieged by rumors. Why a Chinese virology lab is unable to quell the coronavirus conspiracy theories around it. That was February 20th. From Upcentral because China. A Chinese state-owned virology lab in Wuhan, the epicenter of China's coronavirus epidemic, is finding it extremely hard to quell conspiracy theories proliferating around the institution, a sign of the sharply decreased level of public trust in the government since the outbreak of the virus. At the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a subsidiary of the state-owned research institute, the Chinese Academy of Sciences, CAS, scientists carry out virus research at a lab with the highest level of biological containment available on the mainland. Its construction was approved in 2003 during China's last deadly coronavirus outbreak, SARS, and completed 5 years ago, according to Nature Journal. The lab came under spotlight late January after Chinese scientists said the virus could have a connection to bats in an intermediary, such as some form of game sold at a food market in Wuhan. As the lab has researchers who study bat-related viruses, it became a target of online suspicion that coalesced in the theories that the virus could have escaped from the lab or be a bioweapon gone wrong. An unvetted research paper published on January 30th by a group of Indian scientists in which they claim similarities between the nCoV 2019 virus and the HIV virus, appearing to hint at human engineering, also stirred further controversy surrounding the institute. The paper was later withdrawn by the researchers who said they, quote, intend to revise it in response to comments received from the research community. Theories suggesting the new virus was purpose-built or the work of scientists have been emphatically rejected by scientists globally. But what scientists would admit to that anyway? Including 27 prominent public health scientists from outside China who issued a statement Wednesday published by medical journal The Lancet. Quote, scientists from multiple countries have published and analyzed genomes of the causative agent, and they overwhelmingly conclude this coronavirus originated in wildlife. Such journals, such as Nature, have appended notes to older stories about the Wuhan lab, calling the conspiracy theories about the lab unverified. However, the rumors have kept spreading widely online to the extent that Shizengili, a lead researcher on bat-related viruses in the lab, posted on her WeChat account February 2nd the virus was, quote, a punishment from the nature for humans' uncivilized life habits. And she, quote, guaranteed with her life, unquote, it was totally unrelated to the lab. But just as Xi's assurances seem to have calmed down, a notice from the Chinese Ministry of Science and Technology last Saturday started a fresh wave of suspicion about the lab. The ministry said in the notice that China should embrace its management of viruses and bioagents at all labs. Excuse me. Let me read this. The ministry said in the notice that China should enhance its management of viruses and bioagents at all labs and research institutes, without any explanation as to why this is being proposed right now, leaving some to speculate whether this could be a subtle official acknowledgement of a role played by the lab. The following day, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, because he's conservative, see, here's the problem. Because Tom Cotton picked it up, and some people think Tom's a bit of a wacko, then, okay. The following day, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton appeared on Fox News, there you go again, to say that the virus was not far from the wildlife market where many people were infected in December. And that is why it wound up in the Inquirer, which is owned by Trump's friend Dave Packer. Oh, brother. I mean, it's not, okay, look, this is the perfect storm of how a conspiracy theory, if I say it doesn't mean it is true or not. It just is a conspiracy theory. It's created. You don't have, and this is what makes it a perfect storm, okay? You don't have a mutually agreed on explanation as to how we got here, right? But you have a lot of very suspicious, and you do have a lot of very suspicious relationships here. Live market, this lab, the lab definitely plays a role Okay. So those two events primarily make this really hard to look away from and say, oh, I know what happened. Because they're not telling the truth. Let me continue here. All right. Tom Cotton appeared on Fox News to say that the virus was not far from the wildlife market where many people were infected in December. Hold on a second. There are a number of reasons why these theories keep finding many takers, not just among China hawks, but among so many in China. One, there is still so much that isn't known about the virus and its origins. Quote, at this stage, no expert can be absolutely certain about the cause of the outbreak. This uncertainty makes it easier for some people to think all explanations have equal merit, no matter how fringe that is for experts with more extensive knowledge in the matter, explained Assistant Professor Masato Kajimoto, who researches misinformation ecosystems in Asia at the University of Hong Kong's journalism school. That's a fancy way of saying that he researches fake news. After Chi's statement, the lab too stepped out more than once to try to quell the theories. The Institute first rejected speculation that the first patient to be infected with the virus was a graduate student who studied at the lab, saying on Sunday, February 16th, the student is in good health. Yesterday, February 19th, when this was written, it issued a strongly worded statement, link in Chinese, saying the rumors about it have hurt the feelings of frontline researchers hugely, and oh, poor babies, and severely interfered with its task to study viruses. We have nothing to hide, the letter read. Nonetheless, internet users don't appear to be convinced by the assurances from the lab. What's the truth? The collapse of trustworthiness of media and government is not only sad for the two parties, but also for our citizens, said a user on Weibo commenting on the rumors. Some might think the so-called rumors are just prophecies ahead of our times. Some rumors from the early days of the epidemic all turned out to not be far from reality. Li Wenlang, a doctor, had told others about a cluster of cases of viral pneumonia before the outbreak had been made public, but was summoned by Wuhan police for spreading rumors. He later became infected himself, and his death turned him into a vivid symbol of the costs of the government's opacity, prompting an outpouring of anger and grief and rare public demands for freedom of speech and transparency from the government. With the government's bungling handling of the epidemic in Wuhan and the pain and uncertainty the epidemic and the efforts to cope with it have produced, public trust has clearly decreased, said Professor Daliang, a political scientist at the University of Chicago, via email. The death of Dr. Li was a milestone in shared grief in China. What can now be done to contain theories of a rogue lab? Probably not a whole lot, says Kajimoto. When the authorities and experts have the history of not being transparent, whatever they say could sound as if they are trying to hide something, said the assistant professor. In this case, publicly denying the link between the lab and coronavirus could even be construed as, quote, evidence by people who believe in this conspiracy because denial is the sign that truth is hidden. And that's where the article ends. If you want to get that article, I'm going to take it. It's a great article. I'm going to post the link right here for you. And right here, there's the link to it. Okay. QZ.com. Let me read your comments. And go back here. Let's see here. Okay, you all were talking about the secret societies, King James, Bob Money is where we left off. Okay. Ricky C then writes, Wuhan 4B lab. I found that, Ricky. Then Ricky adds, they deal with the deadliest pathogens on Earth. Bob Money writes, I actually went to a restaurant today, got criticized for my 49er t-shirt and didn't say anything to the Raider fan. That's funny. Raider Gan says the virus, in a strange way, will be a blessing. It will reteach people to appreciate each other. Maybe we will even get our moral compass back. As it stands now, we are, as a country, are toxic. I agree. It's a it's a bioweapon. People ain't getting this because they eat bats. They've been eating bats since the beginning of time, says Ricky C. It's meant to depopulate the world. It's a bioweapon pathogen. John's Wacky Rose says, as long as I have 1 million cigs in my caffeine, I won't panic. I kind of like John's idea. Mohammed says, so people back in China believe the government released the virus to contain the Hong Kong protest, and well, as usual, failed to contain it. That's not funny, but it's funny. Ricky says, early November, the bioweapon was released, and he says it's been in all 4 countries for 3 or 4 months. Rita Gann says, Ricky, how do you know? Did you release it? Alberto, that's actually a good question. I mean, you do come on here, you're like, hey, I know how this thing happened. Really? All right. Tell us. Wait a minute. Did you do it? That was funny. And this is priceless. I have to highlight this comment for posterity, right? Look at this. This Raider Gans right here. Raider Gans. Where is it? Raider Gans. It's coming out backward, unfortunately. If I can steady it a bit. It is coming out backward. But he says, it's one of the things you have to put into a mirror so you can read. But it's right there where I'm putting my finger. See? There. That one. Okay. That one. Says Raider Gans says, Ricky C, how do you know? Did you release it? That's funny, man. That's funny. Alberto Sancho says, this is so bogus that they're going to suspend the NBA season. Mohammed writes, I know it sounds crazy, but so does the Chinese army quarantining people by locking them in their homes and bolting doors and windows. There was a video showing military bolting of homes. Golden Arm 17 says, check World Health Organization site. Okay. I'll do that in a second. Rita Gann says, who's taking bets on if the NFL owners force players to play? Ricky C says, so you think regular fruit bats release the virus? Laugh out loud. I know enough that I didn't come from bats. Laugh out loud. Muhammad says, and don't get me started with the Ugar province. Rita Gann says, did y'all see Trump shook a guy's hand that was diagnosed with the virus? That was 2 days ago. Did y'all notice how his address, he didn't look well? No, he hasn't looked well. I mean, he sat there the other day like, he has not looked well, okay? Rita Gann says, I don't think it came, but if it did, it was extracted and synthesized, not transmitted. Mahai Reader says, a conservative coworker said to me that he read an article where Bill Gates funded labs to create such viruses. Not sure if I believe it. Ricky says a perfect bioweapon. And Alberto Sanchez says they need to ban some flights from Asian countries. This is, like I said, horrible. And then the rest of this article, which, hey, you know what? I can't say I don't believe it. I can't say I believe it, but there's enough stuff out there to make this article robust. There's nothing that expressly refutes it. So coronavirus is much, much more worse. Comparing the Spanish flu to the current pandemic is frighteningly accurate, said New York internist Dr. Stuart Fisher. Remember that one? We're on the verge of a pandemic that could kill millions. Frantic world governments are imposing quarantines and sealing their borders in a desperate bid to contain the marauding malady. But for some, say that 3 times real fast. But for some, including Britain's royal family, their moves may be too late. 4 children who visited the viral hotspot, Italy, and attended Thomas's Battersea School in London were Princess Princess Charlotte IV and Prince George VI are enrolled are under orders to self-isolate over fears they are infected. Dr. Fisher explained currently there are no antibiotics, antivirals, vaccines, or prophylactic drugs that can cure the dangerous disease. But hope may be on the horizon. American pharmaceutical company Gilead Sciences, buy the stock, is testing a drug called Rimsler on patients in Wuhan, and Moderna Incorporated, buy the stock, has developed a new vaccine that will be reviewed by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. But testing will take time. Dang it. And the effectiveness of the drugs has yet to be guaranteed. So maybe you should not buy the stock yet. Because it would be really a disaster if you bought the stock, they had something, so your stock goes up, and then it turns out to be, fraud, and then, right? That's not cool. However, Dr. Fisher warned without a medical solution, the bug would run rampant. He said the virus spreads rapidly through respiratory droplets, from coughs and sneezes, and that people with compromised immune systems, such as babies and seniors, will be the first to suffer its wrath. So far, the virus has infected only dozens of people in the United States, but panic has already begun to set in. Fear of infection will lead to bans on food imports from compromised countries, and that may lead to desperate shortages, said one global economics expert who didn't want to be identified, talked to the Inquirer. Meanwhile, the threat of a pandemic has already led to more than 200,000 flights canceled worldwide, and nosediving international stock market lost $2 trillion in 2 days. The threat of millions left dead will lead to more economic turmoil and total panic, said international affairs expert Dr. Jim Garrow. Death, poverty, and hunger will all add up to rioting in the streets. And that's where this ends. Really uplifting. Really uplifting. You can get it at your grocery store. Hey, National Enquirer, I'll tell you what, I give them props for one thing. 2007, they outed that then Senator John Edwards was cheating on his cancer-stricken wife. And that I was one of the first to vlog about what they were doing. It's right here, Zenny62 on YouTube. It's history. And you can read the whole sordid affair. You can view it on video. You hear me talking to you about it. There were two people that did not doubt the Inquirer. One was Sam Stein of the Huffington Post. The other's me. Everybody else was like, then nothing. Turned out to be true. So, let me get back to your comments. And see here. Cold R says SARS came from bats. Rita Gann says the stuff his foundation did ended up sterilizing thousands of Black African women and men. Talking about Bill Gates. And Mohammed says, I'm saying stay home. Ricky says depopulate. Rita Gams writes, that's when Africans said, you know what, I've got this, and developed their own cure for Ebola. Oh, I get it. Let me reread that. Rita Gann says, that's what Africans said, you know what, I got this. And they developed their own cure for Ebola. Mohammed says, Z, look up Eno stock crazy news. Eno, let me copy and paste that. Okay, hold on a second. Eno stock. There. Inovio Pharmaceuticals has went, woo! It climbed 46.84%. Inovio Pharmaceuticals is on a tear. The rest of the market has been going down. It has gone up. Look at this. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. Let's check the news. Oh, excuse me. It fell 42%. What it fell 42%. Now it's on rebound. That says rebound. So the news was 21 hours. It fell 42% on Tuesday after its 30% drop. Okay. It says Lenovo fights back. So it's fighting back. Oh, here's why it's skyrocketing today. Excuse me. What happened? Shares of, I'll just read this to you. Shares of Inovio Pharmaceuticals are skyrocketing today by 32.6% as of 11:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, after surging as much as 48.9% earlier in the session. The biotech did not announce any news. However, investors appear to be jumping back into the stock after Invio's share price cratered 35% in the wake of a short sale by Citron Research. And so share price cratered 35% in the wake of a short sale by Citron Research. And so it seems to be complicated. It's a coronavirus vaccine. Look at this. All right. See that? Coronavirus vaccine. So what? Investors buying Noah stock today are probably aware the SEC doesn't make decisions based on the tweets of short sellers. The underlying factor driving Lenovo's shares up by more than 130% year to date is the biotech's progress with its experimental vaccine for the novel corona disease COVID-19. Holy shit! Woo! Lenovo announced on March 3rd that it's accelerating the timeline for advancing its Eno 4800 vaccine to an early stage clinical study in humans. That study is expected to begin in April. Lenovo said that it plans to produce 1 million doses of the vaccine by the end of this year. There's no guarantee that Lenovo's clinical study evaluating Eno 4800 will be successful, but it's too early to dismiss the company's chances. Lenovo has previously experienced in developing vaccines for viruses, including MERS, a member of the coronavirus family. Now what? It reads, now we have to wait and see whether Lenovo's COVID-19 vaccine shows promise in early clinical testing. But while the biotech stock's near-term fortunes rest on how well the testing goes, Lenovo does have other irons in the fire. Most importantly, the company expects to announce results later this year from a late study of VGX3100 in treating cervical high-grade squamous epithelial lesions caused by human papillomavirus. 10 stocks we like better than Invo Pharmaceuticals, and they have they said when investing geniuses Dave and Tom Garner have a stock tip, it can pay to listen. After all, the newsletter they have run for over a decade, Motley Fool Stock Advisor, has tripled the market. Dave and Tom just revealed that they believe the 10 best stocks for investors to buy right now, and Lenovo Pharmaceuticals wasn't one of them. That's right. They think these 10 stocks are even better buys. Okay. And let's see here. Boom. Okay. Hold on a second. This is a bit agonizing. Okay. I'm getting access. I'm being redirected. It's asking me to join, which I don't want to do. Okay. There's a lot of hoops I have to jump through to get this information, so I'm not. Oh, wait a minute. Here are the stock recommendations. Booking.com, Walt Disney, Amazon, Netflix, Yeah, it's not even a total 10. Well, whatever. The whole point is, I don't think that takes anything away from the work that Inovio Pharmaceuticals is doing, and the fact that they have a coronavirus vaccine. This is a specific. It's called. Remember the name of it. All right. It's called Eno 4800 vaccine for early stage clinical study in humans. And it is for the coronavirus disease COVID-19. And so that's at fool.com. Inovio Pharmaceuticals accelerates timeline for its coronavirus vaccine. Shares jump 70%. 70%. And that was March 3rd. March 3rd. So here's the article. Look at this, okay? Motley Fool, latest stock picks. There it is, all right. Inovio Pharmaceuticals accelerates timeline for its coronavirus vaccine. Shares jump 70%. Think they're not a good candidate for government money? Woo. Woo. Okay. I'm getting to your comments, and then I'm going to shuffle off the buffalo. Let's see here. Okay. Mohammed, I looked up Eno stock. Thank you. Or, yeah. Ricky says, you think you know someone, but they try to rob and steal from you. You need to protect yourself. Mohammed says, Southwest has a deal of $39 one way, want to get away. $39. Wow. Mile High Raider, how you doing, man? Mile High Raider says, all I know, paper products are making bank. Albert Dos Santos says, this is as bad as Ebola. And Mile High Raider says, can't find TP out here. Ricky C says, this is way more worse than Ebola. This is way more respiratory contagion. Ricky C says, coronavirus known for scarring tissue in your lungs. Ricky C says, you can have a dry cough and have the virus and be asymptomatic. That's what's scary. Asymptomatic. That's what's scary. Let me repeat that. You can have a dry cough and have the virus and be asymptomatic. That's what's scary. Rita again says, I really hope we don't get to a place where the market halts for so long that banks won't let people take their money out like in the Great Depression. Ricky C says, martial law will happen. God, I hope not. And we can't defend ourselves. That's why it says in the Bible to run for the mountains, be safe and be prepared. Rita again says, by the time we get this vaccine, we're going to need one for COVID-20. Ahmad says, pretty much first company to make a vaccine will be the next Bitcoin. Yep. And Ricky C says, Johnson & Johnson family company supposedly has the cure the blankers make baby powder. I approve that one. All right. Okay, folks, so there you have it. The great conversation about what the heck is going on here. That's just scary stuff, man. Scary stuff, okay? Ricky says Johnson & Johnson family company supposedly has the cure. The blankers have make baby powder. Yeah. All right, folks. I will see you all tomorrow. Live long and prosper. And remember, keep the good habits that keep you alive. Keep your face clean. Don't lie. And don't be afraid of smart people. I don't know why I said that, but it just came out. Jim Mandias says, do you think MLB will cancel the season? I could see that. Golden Arm says Italy closed bars and restaurants. Rita again says, good night, bro. Be safe out there. Good night, man. Again, I'll see you all later. And thanks. Great conversation. See ya.